Hello, it's Karen Knott from Primetime Business, and I'm here today with Siobhan Costello of greatbusinessresults.co.uk. So, hi there, Siobhan.
Hi Karen, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for being today's Primetime Businesswoman in Action.
I'm
And I
delighted
know
to be.
that
Thanks for
that
asking me.
title suits you to a T. Let's just sort of get the ball rolling, Siobhan. I don't actually know all of the things that you do because I know that you've got sort of multiple strands. So perhaps you could just sort of fill us in on, what you do and how long you've been doing it so far.
Yeah, sure. I mean, essentially, I have two businesses, and one business is Great Business Results, and that's where I help heart-centered business owners to double their income, basically through confident networking. And that then you can imagine that that ties in quite nicely with my second business, which is I own the franchise for Women in Business Network in East Anglia, and I run seven groups for the network across Cambridgeshire, Suffolk, and Norfolk. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
Busy woman. Did you say seven networking
There
groups?
are seven. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
it's fantastic. It's busy, but it's fantastic because it's really powerful when and this is nothing to the blokes are great as well, but when the women come together at the groups, it can be a really powerful dynamic. So you get a lot of energy from it, a lot of
Mm.
support, a lot of feeling connected and empowered. So I thrive on it. I absolutely love it.
And well, interesting enough, that's how I met you at a networking event. And in fact, and then the last one, you were actually giving a talk on networking, which again was fantastic. Actually, I took away quite a few things to implement at my next
Thank you.
networking meeting. But I'm guessing, Siobhan, this isn't something that you've always done. So tell us a little bit about, where you've sort of how this journey has panned out for you.
Yeah, so I used to be a nurse way back in. I was a nurse for about 20 years, working in palliative care, working in hospices and hospitals in North London, and then moved into management. And it probably, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there who have been in similar situations that when you move out of the care, out of something you really love doing into a management role,
Mm.
it becomes, it can be quite stressful. So I left there and went into the civil service, into Department for Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA, as a civil servant in a suit, and had a fantastic job travelling to Brussels to agree legislation on plants and seeds, of all things. So, which was also a fantastic job. But somewhere along this, it was quite clear to me that I was a square peg in a round hole. I am not a dark black suited person. I and being a sort of more of a touchy feely type person, that didn't even fit the personality of the civil servant. And really, when the opportunity came to take a redundancy package, I had already started to train as a hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner. So I took the package on that basis that I would set up my company in that way, running running NLP and hypnotherapy sessions. But I guess uh, the transition came for me when I realized that I wanted to get more profile where I lived. And the way to do that was to set up the network groups. And I had been a member of WIBN before. And actually, I'm just going to turn off my email if that's okay. I can
Yeah,
hear it
sure,
dinging in the
absolutely.
background.
Yeah,
So if you
absolutely.
could just turn that
Yeah,
off, that
yeah,
would be
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I set up WIBN. Oh gosh, there's all sorts of things popping up here now. Okay. Uh, and I set up WIBN and at the same time had turned my hypnotherapy business around. I was selling VIP days only for confidence building. And people were talking to me about, well, if I join the network, will I get business? And I was found myself giving business advice saying, what's your packaging like, your pricing like, what's your niching? And that's kind of how Great Business Results came about because I was spending a lot of time giving business advice. And I thought, I want to be able to do this in a constructive way.
Mm.
So I developed great business results, and I haven't looked back. It's been fantastic to be able to, give that advice to people, heart-centered business owners who are struggling, to be able to help them to develop their packages and really, really turn their businesses around. I love doing it.
And I think, that's your story echoes that of other people in as much as, businesses are constantly evolving, aren't they? What you start off as doing isn't necessarily what you're going to end up doing. It's just like a sort of stepping stone. And then, as you say, you started off with the networking, but then people were coming to you for business advice, and so you moved into that. I mean, that's I think quite a key message for people is that you don't what you start off doing doesn't have to be the thing that you're going to be doing forever, and it's unlikely to be.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. And there was some trepidation around it.
Yes.
I'm known to be a hypnotherapist.
Yeah.
Um, so how can I suddenly be something different? But when you know that there's a need there, it's you almost feel you have to create something to help those
Yes.
others who are on the same journey as you, and you know what the pitfalls are. So it was about being flexible, and it also was about taking an opportunity, a risk, and
Mm.
having the confidence. And I wouldn't say the confidence has always been there, not at all, but having the confidence to say, this is really worth exploring. If I can help more people to turn their businesses around, then that has to be valuable, to go out there and take that risk and build the confidence around it.
And what about your sort of family and immediate circle of friends, Siobhan? How did they respond to you becoming, something different, becoming a businesswoman, becoming a networker, etc.? Did you have any negative responses to that?
Let me think. I can't remember any negative responses. There's my husband and I. He's fantastic, and he works on a very laid back approach to life, whereas I'm like, all the time, buzzing along, finding the next sort of thing to do. And he has been phenomenally supportive. I have to say, I don't think that I could have done it without him, because there have been slump times, and times where I've thought, really, am I doing the right thing? And he has been there to be able to sort of have that conversation with me and allow me to explore what the options might be for me. Um, I think that when you change businesses, you if you lack confidence, and I know at the time I was feeling, is this the right thing to do?
Mm.
How will people in my network perceive this? That you sort of pick up nuances, and you're more alert to what you think are negative reactions. You sort of your radar system is not
Yes.
looking for positive things; they're looking for all the things that say I shouldn't do it, I shouldn't do it. And I suppose I got them, but I just kept going with it because I felt in my heart and soul it was the right way to do it. So yes, there were. I suppose I wouldn't say comments, but just whether I was just picking up a sense of what's she doing now? That's a bit weird, moving into something different. But to be honest, most people, when you network quite prolifically like I do, most people go with it, and once you can say in your heart why you want
Yes.
to make the change happen, they go with that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Can we just talk a little bit about age, Siobhan? Because, most of the women watching this will be women of a certain age, and likewise the women I interview as well. And there's a whole range of sort of responses to the age issue, in as much as for some, I know that age is a great motivator. It's like, okay, I haven't got time to hang around here, I'm just going to go for it. And for others, whilst they may want to be like that, they still have that little thing on that little voice, nipping away at them. That sort of, oh, am I too old for this? Have I left it too late? Shouldn't I really have done this 20 years ago or whatever? Has age played any part in your thinking? You know, was that part of?
Yeah, there were two things. One was I thought I've got to go now when the packages were being offered to the civil service. I'm 51 now, and I can't remember, I was probably 46, 47
Mhm.
when I left the civil service, and I felt this is the time. I've got to
Yeah,
go now,
yeah,
otherwise I'm going to become completely entrenched. And if I hit 50, that to me was sort of the cut-off point. If I hit 50, what's going to happen then? Now I feel so empowered because I feel, look, here I am. I'm 51 and I'm making it happen and it's successful and what a fantastic opportunity in life, and the other thing is, you connect with when you own a business and you are, I'm sure this is at any age, you connect with so many different people. I never knew there were so many fantastic people out there in the whole world. So it's been very empowering. However, I would say that, recently I've had a client who had a similar issue around age and was older than me. And what I said to her was, actually, if your target market is your own age group, which it actually was, then don't feel insecure about it. You're not actually wanting to appeal to the younger people anyway. So I guess for me, I was kind of aware that where I was coming in the market as well.
yes.
That I'm very clear on who I want to work with. But I just feel so empowered by it. I feel like, oh my God, I'm making it happen even at 51.
Even at 50, you're a mere strip of a girl.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I guess, so that, there's the age thing. And then the other major concern is this whole thing about how am I going to earn money doing this thing? We all love the idea, don't we, of doing this thing which we love and which uses our talents and experiences. But then we still think, yeah, but who's going to pay me for that? That's something which I'm asked time and time again. Was that something, a thought which ran through your mind?
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly around great business results. When I brought together the networking and great business results under the confident networking banner, if you like,
Yeah.
I thought, is this for real? Really, is this something people are going to be interested in? And when I did that talk recently, I had that sense of, oh, I so want people to get information here that they can work with, but is this going to be new to them? Because we all network in business. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely have had concerns and a lack of confidence around whether my message is important enough for people whom I think are fantastic business owners. They're out there networking anyway. But in actual fact, the more I've gone out talking about confident networking, the more I realise that actually it is something people want to talk about and want to learn about. So it was, and I guess the solution, if you want to call it that, was for me to actually start to just go out and talk to people about it and see what their needs were and really try to understand, what their pain is.
Yes.
Because I really thought, and it's because I just do it all the time. I thought, why would anybody want to pay to learn how to be a confident networker? But but people do lack confidence, and it's not just about lacking confidence; it's about the skills to network effectively. And that's I think a key issue is what are the skills. Even if you're a confident person, you don't necessarily know all of the tactical, technical, and non-pushy ways to make your investment give you a return
No,
when you go
absolutely.
networking.
And so how does a week sort of pan out for you then, Siobhan? What does your working week look like? Just to give us a flavour of perhaps some of the ways in which you actually generate some revenue in your business. What are you actually doing during your week?
Well, I am trying. I might be giving myself the challenge of trying to get the 80-20 rule in place in my life. um, but some of the things I do are that I've recently hired a fantastic person who comes into my office for 4 hours a week. And for those 4 hours, she does all of my admin around the Women in Business Network. So I'm really trying to delegate
Yes.
out what it's what I call when my feet are caught in the weeds. And that's when I'm working too much in the business rather than on it. So Helen, my PA, does that for me in those 4 hours. That has been an amazing experience to just do that. I also have, in terms of working on the business, I do a number of free webinars that I generally offer things in those free webinars, and that generates people to come onto my list. So it's a list building strategy as
Right.
well.
Yes.
People get interested in what I do. And that's very powerful. I don't know whether any of your listeners will be using webinars, but it's a very powerful list building tool and also a way to get your message out. So that's some of the key ways. I also network an awful lot. So I network amongst my own groups, but that's more where I'm running the group. So it is a little bit different. But I also do a lot of networking beyond that. I really believe in the face-to-face networking. I'm in my flow when I'm networking and meeting people
Yes.
on a one-to-one basis or chatting to them. And I put a lot of time in my diary afterwards for follow up with people. And I think that's really important. There's no point in me going to a network meeting and touching base with people if I don't allocate the time afterwards to either speak to them on Skype or arrange a one-to-one face-to-face with them. And I think that's another key way to make sure you're working on your business.
Oh, absolutely. I know, lots of people think networking is about, just going to this meeting, saying their minute or whatever. And sometimes they're
Yeah,
like sort of rabbits startled in the headlights, aren't they?
yeah,
And they sort of say their bit, sit down, and then they're so sort of nervous about doing it. They don't really listen to other people's minutes either because it's sort of,
yeah,
thank goodness I've done
yeah,
mine.
yeah.
Um, so, what would you say is the best part about what you do, Siobhan? What's that thing that your business sort of gives you? I know it's a hard question, but
Um, Huge satisfaction,
mm,
huge sense of accomplishment that I've never had in anything I've ever done before. A sense of ownership around something that I have made happen, and a sense of fulfillment that is just beyond belief, really. And that's what it does. And yes, there's all the stuff about helping people, but essentially, it feeds into this. Every time somebody walks away and goes, "Wow, that was fantastic! I really had a fantastic day with you, and I achieved so much." Oh God, you just go home and you think, "Wow, did I really make that happen?"
I know it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling, isn't it? There's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
quite like that sort of fulfillment.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really, and it's not all brilliant. There are times where, I kind of think, gosh, this is very, very hard work. But when I think about, is this so hard that I'd want to go back and work in a proper job? Then, and actually, I hate that phrase, a proper job, because I do a proper job.
Mm, mm,
I just don't even feel the motivation to do that.
no.
So even at times where it's not, where it hasn't been brilliant, I've never had that sense of wanting to go onto Google and do a search for a job, because I just feel like I'm in the right place,
Yeah, yeah,
finally in the right place,
yeah. I always sort of think, that's like my litmus test. If I was to ever find myself Googling for a job, I'd know that maybe it's time to think about doing something different. But just the thought of that sort of,
Yeah,
makes me break out into hives almost.
yeah, exactly.
And do you think you've changed personally, Siobhan, as a result of, doing all this?
Yeah, I'm hugely more confident than I was, and more self-assured, and have a direction that I've never had before, a focus like I've never had before. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience, and even just that sense of getting up in the morning and. When I worked in the civil service or in the NHS, as much as I liked the jobs I was in, and could see how great they were, I never had that sense of, oh God, I can't wait to get out of bed and get started on the day. And that's what's really different, you know. and the confidence to know that what I'm doing is having an impact is
Yeah.
just such a great experience, really.
It's that old sort of Confucius saying, isn't it? Find something you love and you'll never have to do another day's work in your life. Do you know
Yeah,
that one? And I used to sort of, think about that. What on earth does that mean? But I know what it means now.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
know
mean, in actual fact,
absolutely.
I've never worked harder. I've never worked harder than I'm
Mm,
working,
mm,
but it's just different.
yeah,
It just feels different.
yeah.
And, long may it continue, really. And I guess where I'm at the moment is striving to get a real better work-life balance. I really want to get that 80/20 rule
Mm,
sorted.
mm.
And and I think that for me is my challenge going forward over the next 12 months is to bring that work-life balance into better control.
So look, just to sort of, we're coming to the end of our interview now, Siobhan. I just wonder if we can finish off with you. Do you have any sort of, top tips or words of wisdom that you would like to sort of share with anybody who's listening to this right now about, what do you wish you knew when you started your business? What do you know now that you wish you knew when you started your business?
Yeah, I wish that I had hired a business coach from the very start.
Right.
I have a business coach and she's fantastic. And she's my second business coach. So, but I probably went for about 18 months without anybody. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that I also wish that I had known from the beginning about how to package my services in a way that was more attractive to people.
Yes.
And particularly if you're in the business of delivering hour-long services for anything, it's so you're doing the sales conversation at the end of every appointment, and so I wish I had known that from the very beginning, and that's what turned my business around. Certainly the NLP and hypnotherapy one. I converted into only doing VIP days for confidence, and now I only do programs of business coaching as opposed to hour-long
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
And that, to me, if I wish I had have known that from day one, and that's where a business coach would have come in.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so
Absolutely.
that's to me when I hear of somebody who's setting up a business, that's the first thing I feel I want to say to them is get yourself somebody who can mentor you through this phase.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to do it alone is a big ask,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And you can have several different mentors at different times
Yeah.
during your business life for
Sure.
different things. So, some have expertise in online marketing or, building your confidence or helping you to build packages. And that's okay
Yeah.
to move from one to the other, so long as you know when you work with one exactly what you want to achieve with that particular person for that length of time you're with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Siobhan, it's been fantastic talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your business journey. I'm going to put all the details about great business results underneath this video so that people can check out and find out more about you. So
Thanks
thanks
for having me,
again.
Karen. It's
It's been great. It's
fantastic.
been
Thank you.
great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.